So last week, and I was like, go Tar Heels. This week, I'm like, go Cuse.
In the ACC, what team has the best pitching?
But if I was not on the Duke softball team or a Duke fan, I would be a fan. I just love their atmosphere and their culture.
Who are your final 8 teams to make it to Oklahoma City? Alrighty, team. Welcome back. Episode 13 of Softball Speakeasy, presented by the Softball Sanctuary. You can find all of their products and training programs at thesoftballsanctuary.com. If you're a pitcher, parent of a pitcher, you want to increase your velo, want to increase your command, that's the place to go. Use code SPEAKEASY for 10% off all of their training programs and products. If you're new here, my name is Raine Wilson, and I'm a former Duke softball player turned analyst and broadcaster.
And my name is Kelly Torres, a current catcher on the Duke softball team.
Softball Speakeasy is a podcast that'll be giving behind-the-scenes look at Duke's 2024 campaign. We'll be following storylines throughout the college softball season, and we'll aim to give you a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to play softball at the Division I level. Yes, you're hearing that correctly. We're back together again. Woo, woo, woo. Back in old Cary, North Kakalaki. And not too far from Raleigh, North Kakalaki, which is where you were this weekend.
Yep.
Playing NC State. So I was actually calling Duke Florida State baseball, which we can talk about later if you want. Mm-hmm. But I want to just dig into your weekend at NC State. Last regular season series in the ACC. You went 3-0. You swept, but I know that's not the full story. So take me through the weekend against the Pack.
Yeah. So Wolfpack came out to play like everyone else in the ACC. They didn't have the best record, but they didn't play like their record.
Right.
1 through 9 in their lineup made solid contact, and we have a pretty dang good pitching staff.
Yeah.
So they really competed. I think it was game 3. They actually went up on us.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah.
We needed a kick in the butt because we needed things to get rolling.
Yeah.
So they gave us a fight, and it was pretty good to end regular season with NC State because now we're going into the ACC tournament with a good competitive series.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I want to ask you, too, because for folks who don't know, NC State has a brand new coaching staff this year. Mm-hmm. And so I want to ask, what was the difference in their program from years past to this year, if you noticed a difference between the teams you faced before and now with this new coaching staff at NC State?
Yeah. They seemed very professional.
Yeah.
They really did. Their warm-ups, they had routine. You know, I saw the catcher having a nice warm-up, and not a lot of catchers do a pregame.
Yeah.
Pitchers as well. So they looked very uniformed. And I felt like NC State previously kind of just rolled in, and not that they were sloppy, but they were just there to play softball.
Right.
And it looks like a business over there now. And it's really cool to see it kind of develop in that way.
Yeah, I don't know if you agree, but I think that NC State, UNC, and Duke, you all are already good, but UNC and NC State in the next few years are going to be really, really good. Because, there's kids, they have good fan base, too. I don't know if you felt that while you were playing them, but the fan base is intact. Like, there's kids to recruit from North Carolina and the Carolinas. So I have my eyes on them in years to come, and I'm sure you do, too. But yeah. I
do. I also think the level in play in the ACC is rising as well. Usually you think about SEC, and every school in the SEC is a big dog. Well, ACC is on the same road, on the same path. Every school now in the ACC is competing. We might hit it later, but Syracuse.
Yeah, we're going to hit it later. Syracuse. Oh, my gosh.
Can't sleep on anyone.
No, you can't sleep on anyone. And it's crazy, too, that about 10 years ago, there was a good handful of year stretch, and I'm sure Florida State fans comment below the actual numbers. We won't dig into it exactly right now, but there was a stretch of time they did not lose an ACC game or an ACC series. So for it to be at this point this year, a battle at the top, parity throughout, and we're going to do an ACC deep dive in this episode. And first, I'm going to give a little bit of info on what happened this weekend in the ACC. So Florida State swept the Tar Heels. I know you were rooting for the Tar Heels.
Okay.
Florida State swept them at Florida State. there was a couple close games. Clemson took the series over Louisville. UVA took the series over Georgia Tech. Boston College took the series over Notre Dame. And then Syracuse took the series over Virginia Tech. When you saw that, what was your initial reaction?
I mean, Virginia Tech pitchers are very, very good, that whole staff. So in my head, we played Syracuse first series of regular season. So I was like, they really turned it up. They turned it around, and they wanted to make the ACC tournament. It was very clear.
Yeah, because them and Louisville right now, we'll get into the standings after we dig into the Syracuse Virginia Tech series. But yeah, right on the cusp, the top 10 teams make it to the ACC tournament, which is coming up so soon. One more weekend of ACC softball left. You all have the weekend off. But yeah, no, so yeah, Syracuse came to play. What's interesting about Virginia Tech too is they have the hitters, obviously. Like two of their best hitters are like second and third in the ACC in batting average, or third and fourth or something like that, and Addie Green and Emma Ritter. They have good pitching as well. When you played at Syracuse this year, y'all played there, yeah?
No, they came to us.
They came to you. Okay, then scratch that. But you played at Syracuse, yeah?
Yes.
Was it a complete wind tunnel? Like, was it super windy up there?
Super windy, super cold. We didn't play. I think it would be warmer now.
Yeah.
But we played earlier around February, March time.
Yeah, March probably, yeah.
And it was freezing.
Yeah.
Very, very cold. And I mean, the atmosphere in Syracuse isn't like an atmosphere Virginia Tech would experience at home.
Right. Well, and watching some clips of that series, it was very windy. And for a Virginia Tech team that hits a ton of balls in the air, ball's not going to fly. I remember we played there, and I remember it's probably Caroline Jacobson hit a ball that we all thought off the bat was going to go 300 feet.
Yeah.
And it didn't make it out of the infield, or just reached out of left or right, the shallow left field. So that's a factor, but also the parity in ACC. Syracuse has some good arms that can get them through games, and it was a shock to the softball world. I'm not a betting woman, but I would have put my money on Virginia Tech going into that series, and I think it puts a big old chip on their shoulder.
Yep, going into FSU. So last week, and I was like, go Tar Heels. This week, I'm like, go Cuse.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Syracuse has some confidence playing Florida State, and Florida State has to go to Syracuse. So that's another aspect, and I think it fires up Virginia Tech, too. They were on the bubble of hosting a regional. Now, a lot of people are saying, hey, if they don't win the ACC tournament, I don't think they'll host. It's hard because I really believe that they're
one of the best.
I in my heart believe Virginia Tech is a top 16 team. I think they have a really good chance to win a regional. We'll see where they go. I mean, if they go to Tennessee, that might be challenging. But that's what makes the next month so darn fun. And the next month, #mayhem, and part of mayhem is the ACC tournament. So I'll read the standings of the ACC ahead of the tournament. So Florida State is at the top, number 1 in the conference. Once again, we've hammered that nail a few times now. Duke in second place, Virginia Tech in third, Clemson, Virginia, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Notre Dame, Boston College, Syracuse, Louisville, Pitt, and NC State is rounding out the bottom of the conference. But, I mean, to your point, too, about NC State, they also had one of the hardest ACC schedules ever. I mean, just had to play everybody.
They played all the top big dogs.
Had to play everybody. And that's challenging, especially your first year out. And a lot of those games were close, too, even the games against you all. So it's a bummer. I actually have the NC State versus Pitt game this Saturday. And depending on how it shakes out, I mean, if Syracuse gets swept or Louisville gets swept this weekend, Pitt has a chance to make it in the tournament because they're one game back from that 10 spot. So it'll be interesting. I mean, a lot of softball to be played still, and a lot of things to happen. So I want to do a game called the ACC Superlatives. So coming up, obviously, we were actually talking before the podcast about, ALL-ACC this, ACC Player of the Year, things like that. I want to get your ACC superlatives, Kelly Torres. Who in the ACC, what team has the best pitching?
Duke.
Okay. Actually, I should have thought. Sorry, everyone.
We do.
Other than Duke. I mean, yeah,
Okay.
that's true. That's
Okay, other
by the
than Duke.
numbers and just by your experience. And you can't answer Duke or any Duke players for any of these questions. Any of them.
Gosh. Okay.
Okay,
So
best pitching in the ACC.
Virginia.
Okay. I
Mhm.
see. Go Cavs. All right, best hitting.
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. Best hitter you've seen in the ACC.
I'd say Claire Davidson, but
That's true.
Not Duke. Best hitter. Oh, the leadoff for UNC.
Alex Coleman.
Yep.
100%. I was going to go with the same one. And then the best pitcher you faced this year in the ACC.
Best pitcher I have faced. I'm blanking on her name. So a little thing about me, I don't write names in my journal because
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I just write numbers. But the ace for Virginia, I think
Eden
is the
Bigham.
best. Yes.
Yeah, she is really good.
Unbelievable. She hits her spots.
Mm-hmm.
You said it. We were talking earlier, and when you called that game, she didn't miss one ball down the middle.
No.
And to be able to do that consistently throughout 7 innings is impressive.
Well, I mean, she pitched like 10 innings of that game. But even 7 is impressive, right? But yeah, so I would agree there. She's been incredible. And then I want to ask, so you're graduating obviously soon. So sad. We talked about that last week. The senior video, if anyone wants to watch that, is in the description of last week's episode. But I want to zoom out from this year at who's the best in the ACC and ask you those same 4 questions, but throughout your career.
Okay.
The best pitcher, best hitter, best hitting team. So who has had the overall best pitching against you, Kelly Torres, in your career in the ACC?
Overall, I think I have to go with FSU.
Yeah, that's. I mean, Sandercock.
Sandercock,
she was good.
Was really good.
Really good. And McKenna Reed's still very good,
Yes.
but Sandercock, one of those other pitchers that can just hit every single spot and also has good stuff. Best hitting team.
Best hitting team. I think I still have to go with Virginia Tech.
Really?
Yeah.
Not Florida State. Interesting.
Florida State's always been a good hitting team.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence, but Virginia Tech just has something about their bats that has never changed. And I said this on the show yesterday, last week, and I shouldn't say it, but if I was not on the Duke softball team or a Duke fan, I would be a Virginia Tech fan. I just love their atmosphere and their culture.
It's funny you say that because my last question, we'll get to the best pitcher or best hitter first or after this, but I was going to ask, where would you go if you didn't go to Duke? Is it Virginia Tech?
It's not Virginia Tech.
Okay, then we'll get back to that. So jumping back, so you said best hitting, you said Virginia Tech. You like the culture, like the vibe there.
FSC's up there too.
FSU's up there. Okay, best hitter you've ever faced as a Duke player in the ACC throughout your career.
Best hitter all 4 years. Wow. I feel like Harding.
Oh my God.
Harding's a really good hitter.
And also I feel like, she's always played well, but she has played at her best against you guys.
Yeah. Seriously, every single time.
And then best pitcher.
Best pitcher. Valerie Cagle.
Oh yeah. That's, I don't know if you're thinking of the ACC championship in 2021.
Oh my gosh, when I was a freshman, Cagle was just untouchable.
And she's still good, but that game I remember being like, wow. Even the series against them at Clemson, it was like, wow.
I also think it's very normal not normal, but there's a lot of 70-plus pitchers out.
Yeah.
And back at that time, we've really seen a shift in softball in the past
100%.
2-3 years. But when I was a freshman, 70-plus was just crazy. And Cagle was one who was just consistently throwing at that speed.
That's what, I don't know if anyone's new to the game of softball, you might not know this, but I remember my freshman year, I was catching Odyssey Alexander, who ended up going to the World Series, had a great career, playing professionally now. And I remember she was doing like run-throughs with weighted balls, normal balls, and we were radaring her. And she hit 66. And we were like, oh my gosh, you just threw gas, like cheddar. At the same time, Megan Good, who was an incredible All-American at JMU, was consistently at 70, 71, 72, one of the best pitchers in the country. And now
it's normal.
It's normal. Power 5 most girls are throwing
70.
68, 70 at least.
Mhm.
Carlin Pickens at Tennessee throwing 72, 73 right now, which is just insane.
Insane.
But Eden Bigham throws 70. She gets to 70 as well. But, like, I found throughout my career of hitting, the best pitchers weren't the ones who threw the hardest, but they were the ones who could just pick a spot and command all parts of the zone. And the one girl that comes to mind in terms of, like, she just had my number, I just could not freaking hit her, was Peyton Tidd at Notre Dame.
Yes.
Do you remember her?
Yes, I remember.
My gosh, she could just hit a spot, man.
Jayla throws consistently like 70, 72.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And with her drop ball, it's like, how do you hit that?
Yeah.
They could
you
change it
see
too.
her in the weight room, and it comes to no surprise. She outlifts like everyone.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it's interesting too, because in baseball, it's kind of had the similar progression of being able to touch 90. And this is something that I've learned over the past, years of watching baseball, but specifically in the past week preparing for the Duke Florida State series, is so many of, like, it's a standard to throw plus 90 plus, whereas that used to be a monumental feat.
Yeah.
And same thing with 70 now. It's like, it's still really good. And there's also great pitchers who don't throw 65.
No.
Lily Walker. Doesn't throw that hard, but man, she's like nearly unbeatable. So it's just cool. I like the way our sport's headed. So
I think it's cool now that you can have like speed pitchers and you can have movement pitcher. Like Lily Walker has unbelievable break on her curveballs, on her drop balls, on her changeup. So when you're able to have so many, like if we have Jayla, we have Lily, then we have Cass, who are all so completely different. That's what makes an amazing staff.
Oh yeah, and it's truly a staff now. And 5 years ago, it was one pitcher, maybe a second one. If you're really lucky, you have someone third that throws 20 innings a year. Nowadays, you got to have at least 3 that are solid. For you all, you have 5 that are solid. So it's a luxury, especially getting deeper in the season and dealing with injuries and things like that. Did I ask who your best pitcher you faced?
Cagle.
Cagle, right. And then, so let me ask, where would you go if you didn't go to Duke?
I think, this is going to hurt me so much.
Oh, boy. Carolina?
I mean, UNC was the other school I was looking at when I was being recruited by Duke was UNC. I really wanted to harp on academics. So if I went that route, UVA or UNC would be my 2 options in the ACC with high academics. But looking at what the teams have, I think I'd say Clemson. Their fan base, oh my gosh, just everything Clemson has, their uniforms, their gear, their stadium, they have a lot of good stuff. And I mean, it comes with a good football program, and that's why they have all that money. But yeah, it's something that at Duke, although we do not need, it's nothing I experienced before.
Right. Well, and to your point about the football team, but the chicken or the egg, right? Like, what came first, the great fan base, the great football team? It's probably the football team, and then the fan base grew around it. I don't know. Clemson fans tell us. But you're right. Like, they early on got a massive donation to build that stadium and make it one of the best in the country. Great fans, and you're right. The uniforms are sweet. The uniforms are really sweet. Nice. That's interesting.
But I have a theory on uniforms, actually.
Please do tell.
So, you know how Clemson is orange and purple?
Yes.
And then they have white. They have like 2 colors that are not white or black. So Duke has blue, but then they only have white and black. So I think the schools that have 2 different colors have the nicer uniforms because they're able to make different combos, like LSU, yellow, purple. Then they can mix in the black and the white and the gray whenever they want. That's
true. I do think, though, like, LSU is on a different level in terms of, like, creativity of their uniforms.
Very true.
And their helmets and everything else like that. Like, they are on another level. And also, they have a passionate fan base with a great football team and
exactly.
And who, it all kind of plays in together. But that's interesting. I think the uniforms for Duke have greatly gone like exponentially better. I mean,
we should throw back to Raine's.
Oh my! Literally right here. Maybe we'll pop this up. I got the uniform I got for my senior day, and you all got the gothic black ones for your senior day little thing. I'm not complaining. This is awesome. I'm super happy that they even did this, but it's grown a lot. It's definitely grown a lot.
It has. We still wear the same white pants, though.
Wow.
Yep.
The black pants, too? The
No.
black pants are awesome.
Black pants are new. They're super nice. But the white pants,
Really?
we have not updated those yet.
Wow. That's awesome.
I think that's coming next,
Congratulations.
though.
Well, the advancements for Duke softball are amazing, especially that video board.
Ooh, oh
That's
my gosh.
exciting. For folks going to the ACC Tournament, you'll be able to see that live in action. And speaking of ACC Tournament, alums are coming. And we're going to try to figure something out depending on the schedule of whether it's a live show or just an hour and a half that we are hanging out with the alumni outside and fans. All of our fans can come up. No, we know that there's a few that are coming into town for it, and we'd like to chat if you guys are there. So, yeah that's great. So next up, we want to move on. More mayhem stuff. So if you all were on our Instagram today, it's Monday evening, we posted we posted which team is this based on the resume. So I'm going to quiz Kelly. I came up with the numbers. We posted that. I didn't tell Kelly which team was which, and so she'll guess. So I'm going to read each team, what their record is, their strength of schedule, their RPI, and then the record through the last 10 games. Kelly's going to guess, all right? Team A, 39-11. Strength of schedule is 10. RPI is 7. And the last 10 games, they're 5-5.
5-5?
5-5.
LSU?
I'll reveal them at the end.
Okay.
Team B, Kelly knows Team B. 44-6, 19th in strength of schedule, 3rd in RPI, and 8-2 in the last 10.
RPI went up. Duke softball.
Duke softball, yes, that is you guys. That's a really, really impressive record.
Yeah.
Team C, 37-9, 14 in strength of schedule, 4th in RPI, and 7-3 in their last 10.
Tennessee.
Yes, correct.
Bam!
Bing, bing, bing. Nice job. Now, Team D, 40-10.
It's a good record.
18th in strength of schedule, 9th in RPI, and 10-0 in their last 10.
FSU.
FSU, exactly
Goddamn.
right. And then Team A, which you guessed LSU, is Stanford.
Oh, okay.
So Team A, 39-11, 10th in strength of schedule, 7 in RPI, and 5-5 in the last 10.
Yeah, they just took it over Washington.
They did. And there's a lot, there's a lot of softball to be played. And I want to ask you, Kelly, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. And I'm going to allow you to include Duke in this, obviously. Who are your final 8 teams to make it to Oklahoma City?
Oof.
This is hard.
This is hard. Duke, we're there. I hate to say it, but Oklahoma's going to be there.
Yeah.
Texas.
Okay. So we got
Oklahoma State.
Okay, Duke, Oklahoma State, and Texas.
Florida.
Florida.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of
It's ballsy.
That's a hot take.
I think Florida historically has been good. They fell off, but I think they're feeling that again.
Mm-hmm.
I see it when they play.
Okay.
So I like how Florida plays.
Okay.
I got 3 more. Texas A&M.
Okay. So that's 6.
Stanford.
All right. That's 7.
UCLA.
Interesting. So UCLA, Texas A&M, Stanford, Florida, Duke, Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State. Interesting.
What about you? What would you say?
I would say Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee.
Yes.
Duke, Stanford. And I already said Oklahoma State, didn't I? Did I say Oklahoma State?
No, I think you said Oklahoma. Texas.
Okay. Oklahoma
Tennessee.
State.
Mhm.
I think UCLA is looking good. It's looking real good. I'm going to go UCLA. That's 7. It's hard. I'm going to go Florida State to Oklahoma City for the 8th pick.
Wow.
I think we talked about this early in the year. 2018, they had a really rough start.
Mm-hmm.
They lost three unranked teams in the first 16 games or whatever, and they went on to win the national championship. I got faith in Lonnie Alameda, man. But I also think there's 7 other teams that could be in that conversation, like Texas A&M, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Florida's looked really good. They've been clutch Will their freshmen take them further, or will their freshmen, have the jitters? I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
A lot to be said. A lot to see.
It's also going to be very interesting to see the 2 seeds.
Yes.
That upset at the regional that they go to.
Yes,
because that's very possible.
For sure. And like a team like so let's get into this. So the NCAA tournament, the selection show is May 12th, and there's a lot of different reference points that the committee uses. But one thing they try to do is keep you within 400 miles of the regional site. And so for a team like Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia, not a lot of options other than Tennessee or Georgia. And depending on where they go says a lot. And also, like you all played Longwood the other day, they're second in the Big South. If they win their conference tournament, they probably go to Tennessee as well. They go to Knoxville. Like, there's so many of those kind of question marks of where does, if Virginia Tech's not going to host, there are going to be a problem. They're going to be a 2 seed somewhere, and that's going to be a problem for a lot of teams. Yep. For Alabama is another one that they're kind of like, their RPI is good, but some people don't think they should be hosting. That's another one. They have great pitching. Great pitching can get you anywhere. So there's all these teams. Washington's another one. Like, there's all these teams that could upset a regional, and it could upset any regional. Like, Texas has been great. Oklahoma's been good. You all have been good, but we've learned anything can happen on any given day. Yep. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Don't clip what we said as the top 8 when it all comes down, or maybe do. Maybe do. It's all right. We'll sign that. We will now move on to listener questions. So first question for Kelly, and this is hard because I know you're playing in the ACC tournament, but what ACC team do you think could make a surprising run in the ACC tournament?
Oh, surprising. So we can't say Duke.
Can't say Duke. Well, yeah, surprising.
Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
They have great pitching.
Yeah, they do.
And that takes them far. I think if they can string some hits along, that will help them. But their pitching alone will take them far.
Yep. And it's not like they just have one arm. Like, they have a few arms that can throw. So honestly, I think going into this series or this tournament, it is as much anyone's game as it's ever been in the ACC tournament.
I agree.
So it'll be really interesting to see how it all shakes out, and you'll be doing it in Durham. I can't wait. Are you so excited? I am so excited. And also with a video board, that has been something that just every single team has been like, let's get a video board. And like, I'm actually on a team where we're getting the video board. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I just can't believe it happened so darn quickly.
So fast.
Crazy.
I will conclude the listener questions because they're for our lovely host, Raine. This one came from our email.
Yes.
softballspeakeasy@gmail.com.
Correct.
You guys should email us with other listener questions.
Yep.
So, how was calling baseball games versus softball games, and did you find any differences?
Wow. What a difference it is. I mean, in terms of like the fundamentals of both games, both types, they're obviously both very similar. However, gotta be honest, there's a lot here.
Okay.
First of all, there's like 20 pitchers to study, right? Instead of 4 at 5. And I remember kind of shaking my head. I can't remember what team it was, but they had like seven pitchers, and I was like, gosh, this is going to take me forever to like study them and watch film and things like that. And then, Duke versus Florida State, by the way, was a top 10 matchup, and it has a ton of implications for the ACC and things like that. So I really wanted to do a good job, and also it was my first baseball series, so all of the pitchers, there's a lot of work to be done to really understand what they're trying to do. But man, was it fun. I grew up a baseball kid, grew up watching baseball, and I've always loved it. And to be able to like yap about it in a way, like in the way that I've been doing over the last year with softball was amazing. Cannot lie to you, went into it, had definitely some imposter syndrome, definitely some insecurity, definitely at times. And I actually have to shout out a few people. Talk to Coach Young, put me in touch with the great Jessica Mendoza.
That's awesome.
Who is the first ever woman to be a baseball analyst on Sunday Night Baseball and has a number of incredible accolades. If you are watching this and you're a softball or baseball fan, you know who she is.
Mm-hmm.
So Coach Young put me in touch with her, which was amazing.
Now you have
so
her
thankful.
phone number.
And so we talked on the phone last week about it, and I kind of expressed that to her, like I'm a little worried about getting trolled, right? Like, or getting, made fun of or messing up. And she was like, screw it. Like, say it with your chest, And so she has been incredibly helpful. Also, Madison Shipman, one of the best analysts in our sport in softball, also does Toronto Blue Jays stuff. Talked to her on the phone. She was incredible. Texted me and said, hey, how'd you do? Like, and it's just like the kindness like that is incredible. And even going back a year ago to when I started softball, Amanda Scarborough answered my Twitter DM. We talked on the phone, and the world that we live in, the community, is incredible. And then my favorite analyst of all time, Kyle Peterson, Jessica Mendoza put me in touch with him. We talked on the phone. He is like, even if you're not a baseball fan, you got to listen to this guy do his job. It's incredible. He gave me some incredibly sound advice. He watched some of the game, sent me feedback. Like,
what'd he say?
Don't try to justify it. Like, don't try to justify that you know the game. Like, you know the game, So it was an emotional weekend. It was also one of the best weekends of my life, probably. Just because it was, what a dream, right? And thank you to the Duke folks, Chad Lampman, Will Black, for giving me the opportunity to do it, because I know and Chris Edwards too. Sorry, I know there's a lot of people, but there's so many people to thank for this, because in reality, softball's only 3 months out of the year. This is a job I really enjoy doing, and I've got a huge mountain to climb in terms of getting better. There's so much work to be done in terms of improving, and we've talked about this. It's like I would love for this to be a career, and so baseball is kind of the avenue that creates longevity with it. So we'll see. I don't know. I have so much more work to be done. Those 2 baseball games, they're very different. They're longer, right? Sunday's game, we were 4 innings in. It was 3 hours in. Wow. Because of all the pitching changes and things like that. But at the end of the day, ball is ball. And I think baseball has could learn a lot from softball, but I also think softball could learn a ton from baseball. They are so into data, is so integrated into their game. And I feel like softball is just dipping its toes in to really data on it on a pitch by pitch basis of the data. And I think softball has an incredible, the ceiling, we're not even close to the ceiling of data within softball, and even data in baseball as well. But those are the few differences I saw, and incredibly humbling experience, amazing experience, and so many people to thank for that experience. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, as a player, and when I listen back on games, and I hear you calling the game, Raine, you're made for it. Oh. And you are. And this is going in the pod. No, it's going in. Because it's hard to be celebrated. It is. And I want you to know that you are dang good at what you do. And I know it's very early in your career, but I can just see it. I see it.
Thank you,
You're
Kelly.
there.
Thank you, bro. And I also owe you a ton of thanks, too, because... And also everyone. I mean... And I also apologize to the Duke faithful, because you've probably heard my voice now. You're listening to this podcast. You've probably heard my voice in your freaking nightmares. But you sent me a manifestation meditation. Never thought I'd be into that kind of thing. Because things like that, if you're not willing to try it, it intimidates you. It scares you. And it scared me. And then I tried it. And holy smokes, it was the most clear vision I've ever had in my life.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. Life is crazy. I don't know what's going to happen with my life, and we're going to see. We're just going to let it all unfold. Yeah. And I know you feel similarly leaving school, trying to figure out what's next. So,
but if you can envision it, if you can see it, feel it, hear it without even being there, your brain doesn't know you're not there.
Right.
It releases chemicals, and I can go on for forever about this stuff. But if you're able to imagine it in that much detail, it could very much possibly happen.
Yeah. We should do a bonus episode maybe let us know what you think about us doing a bonus episode and just us yapping normally and not having the script of what we normally do on a week-to-week basis of the recap. Let us know what you think about that. If you're don't care, don't worry. If you're that's something I would listen to, sure, let us know, because we we're normal people too. Like we can yap about all kinds of stuff. So,
Literally.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's our last listener question. And yeah, big times coming ahead. You all have a bye week, a little bit of rest, well deserved. And then the ACC tournament coming up. We'll have an episode before the tournament. But until then, have fun. Enjoy your life, Kel. You're done with school. Congratulations.
Yeah, finish undergrad.
My gosh, that's amazing, dude. So happy for you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for watching, listening, viewing, and subscribing. It means the absolute world to us. Rate us 5 stars if you're feeling kind. Leave us a review. That means so much to see the feedback and that you all are enjoying what we're doing. And we are always, always, always open to feedback and what we can do to make this better. So whether it's emailing us at softballspeakeasy@gmail.com or commenting on Instagram, DMing us on Instagram, we both have access to that account. We love the feedback. Thank you all so much. And I do want to shout out Donald Ellis in the Instagram comments got the quiz right. So he got all 4 of those teams correct. Congrats, Donald. I said I'd shout out the person who got it correct. And he was the guy.
Well, he's a big fan of Duke softball.
Oh, good deal. Well, I mean, it's impressive because I tried not to do the top 4 teams. I didn't do Oklahoma. I didn't do Texas. So well done, Donald. And let us know what your top 8 are and who you think will make it to the Women's College World Series. Yeah. Excited to see what you all have to think or you all have to say. But thank you again to the Softball America Podcast Network for having us part of the network. You might even be listening and watching on their YouTube right now. Make sure to subscribe to them, subscribe to us, give us a thumbs up, 5 stars. Thank you so much. Love you guys forever.